Alright, guys, I'm going to start us off with TNA news. So, I know, everyone's fainted breath.
And not the TNA that we want to hear about.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, TNA Slammiversary pay-per-view almost didn't happen. Dean Broadhead, TNA's Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer, COO, wrote the following on his personal Facebook page. On Thursday and Friday, I logged over 80 business calls on my cell phone. Attorneys, accountants, vendors, bankers, and employees. Maybe time to retire, but maybe not until everything is in the right place. To answer why, I had a 12-hour time frame to secure interim financing so that the production trucks could come. Lawyers, bankers, accountants, and owners. Some of them were out of the country. Some were on the West Coast, and some were on the East Coast. That was the reason for all the calls. According to PWInsider.com, it's possible that Billy Corgan, getting involved as a minority owner, helped secure the financing so the pay-per-view could happen. Basically, TNA is taping this week. But the big thing that he posted that was that TNA is having big problems, and apparently what happened was that, and this is all, speculation, insiders,
it's all
whatever.
Conjecture.
We're obviously all hearing it second and third hand, but apparently what happened was, so all the production trucks and all the equipment rolled up to the arena where they were doing Slammiversary, which is their pay-per-view. That's their second biggest pay-per-view of the year, I think. I think Bound for Glory is like their WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But I think the Slammiversary is their second biggest one, which they only do like 3 or 4 now a year of the actual like pay-per-view. They do one night only is the rest of the year. But essentially what happened was that the video production company said, we want our money or you can't use our equipment.
Right.
I don't know if it was because they were behind on payments or if they'd been stiff before or what the deal was. So essentially, they think that Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins was sold some of TNA so that they could float financing through so that they could do this pay-per-view.
Right.
And, yeah.
Just
Well, that's a bad investment on Billy Corgan's part.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And it does make you wonder, I mean, with this production company, and again, with all situations like this, I mean, who knows what the details are. I mean, if they didn't have the money before the show, if it was one of those deals like, oh, well, I'll write you a check, but we have to wait till our numbers come in tomorrow, and then I'll let you know if you can cash it. Or in this case, it's like maybe, somebody had known something along the way, like, hey, these dudes don't have... And they don't have the bankroll. But then, I mean, realistic, man. I mean, TNA, like, what kind of revenue do you think that they legitimately...
Well, the big thing, too, is that I don't know how many times you've heard. I can recall at least 3 times in the past 2 years, because I pay a little bit more attention to TNA than these guys do. Joke! Joke! Don't high-five that. That was a terrible joke.
Just can't leave hanging, man. That's worse than not high-fiving.
That's friendship. But anyways, so there's been 3 times in the past 2 years, I can remember, there might be more or whatever, where they've reported that TNA has not paid, like, editors, production people, like, just people that work on the show. And they've had times like they've been 2-3 months behind on payments. Bobby Roode and Eric Young both were said to be owed over $250,000 between the two of them.
Wow.
That was a big reason why they left, because they were owed so much money. They've been paid apparently since then, so it's not like TNA hasn't made good on that.
Right.
But the big thing is that Dixie Carter is in charge of TNA. Dixie Carter should not be in charge of TNA because Dixie Carter has proved over the past 10 plus years that she does not know how to run TNA, especially without someone like Jeff Jarrett or say what you will about Jarrett, but at least they were on Spike TV, You know, they had a decent product and things like that.
And they had their moment there where they were drawing all those, you know, the fall away talent from
Yeah. So they were doing okay for a while, but apparently her father, or no, I'm sorry, it was her father. Her father has been bankrolling the company way more than he should have for the past 10 years or something. Like, he's been paying a lot of the big talent. Their deal with Spike TV, basically, from what it sounds like, pretty much Spike TV paid for Sting. When Sting was there, they were like, well, it's Sting, so I'm sure that's how they got their ratings.
Yeah.
But she has proven time and time again that she doesn't really know how to run a wrestling company. And you hear so many people, you know, like people in the know, Jim Cornette, a bunch of other guys, you hear all the time, you know, in those shoot podcasts or videos or whatever they do, that she doesn't know what she's doing.
Right.
Why? What is Billy Corgan smoking?
Yeah.
This is a company that I don't think has ever turned a profit. What part of that is a good investment to you?
Right. After year 3, you know, it's like
it'd be one thing if TNA was getting the 1 point whatever rating they were when they were on Spike, and if they were still on Spike. They are not on Spike anymore.
Correct.
They are on Pop TV. You know what Pop TV is? Pop TV used to be the TV Guide channel.
Right. Hey, guaranteed viewerships.
So, the programming for the day, your program, you are just barely better than the programming for the day.
Yeah.
That is...
It's not right after all those Lifetime movies.
Yeah.
You know, like... Yeah. Although, I mean, you know, if it's paying their bills, which in this case it isn't... But how much revenue can you seriously generate from being a TV guide? Like, you'd be better off doing like a QVC house show.
Yeah.
Like, why not do a QVC? Why not break the...
Well,
and apparently from what I've read is they're not making much money off of this Pop TV deal.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, there's no way to truly generate revenue from...
So you're breaking even on your TV in America. Apparently they do okay over in India and the UK.
All right.
So they're making money over there, but how much can they really be making off of television over there? You know, usually that's usually spare change for other places. You know what I mean? So they've got two sources of revenue that they're getting, but they're losing talent left and right. They can't pay paychecks. They can't afford people. Who's gonna buy this company?
we should.
We
should buy the company.
Kickstarter.
Well, do you think?
Let's do a takeover.
Do you think TNA will get sold, or do you think Dixie Carter will literally run it into the ground?
I think she'll run into the ground.
It'll go into the ground. Because at this point, I mean, you know, it's pretty well established. WWE, if they're not going to buy them, they're not going to survive.
Yep.
And although
all that WWE wants them for would be that video library.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they got 10 plus years or probably around 10 years of AJ Styles matches they can sell, and Bobby Roode and Eric Young, who are now with WWE. So, you know, DVDs and stuff like that.
Yep, buy that library.
Well, you know, like, it's a huge problem, too, because we talk about this, but then we've talked in the past about how TNA doesn't know how to promote, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, there was that story, like, when one of the wrestlers in the hotel, and there was a guy, like, staying just down the house, like, oh, I didn't know you were in town. And it's like, yeah, we're having a show, like, in the hotel, or, like, across the street, you know?
Yeah, that was AJ Styles.
Yeah. Because they can't promote their own talent, their own show. They're like, what?
Yeah. And that's where you would hope as a company, you know, it's like they have nationwide. They had nationwide status at one point. Mm-hmm. And then I think, like I said, it's like...
I think Nationwide was actually like a sponsor, too.
No.
Nationwide.
But, I would certainly hope they have good policies. But yeah, it's like once you're off a Spike, I mean, what do you... Well, look at comparable to with what has happened with SmackDown over the years. Mm-hmm. You know, and that thing bouncing around, and it was like, you know, disappear from... you know, from the lineup for a little bit, and then it's like now it's coming back on Tuesdays? You said on
Tuesdays
live,
on
It's not on USA.
No, it's on
anymore,
USA.
Or is it Eagle TV or whatever it's called? Isn't USA called something different now?
No.
I don't get that channel. So
Ever since you were honest with this cable company?
You know, yeah, don't call your cable company ever.
But I don't get what she's thinking, because in the early days they started TNA, they did the Asylum, which was weekly pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
So for it was like $10 or something like that. They did a 3-hour show, and you could buy that syndicated television or whatever, which I think is still a good model. And up and coming wrestling show to charge like $2 or $3 for online access to a weekly show if you could do it live.
Yep.
How awesome would that be?
Right.
If it had the caliber of talent that TNA had at the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like an ROH could do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and ROH does. You can get ROH on your PS4 and other stuff like that.
Right.
And then they went to Orlando, and they were filming at Disney Studios, I think. I could be wrong. It's or Universal Studios. One of the big lots down there, and it's very cheap to film down there because it's a televised studio audience. So you get people who go to the park,
right,
and then they can just come in. They don't have to charge admission, so you're not making a bunch of money, but also everything is there. You don't have to pay a bunch of people to move stuff around.
Right.
It's very cheap to produce television.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your talent lives in that area, so you're not paying for room and board and for travel and stuff like that. And they were filming like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And then they'd do their pay-per-views, and that worked very well. That got them to Spike. And then they decided that they wanted to start traveling. And then they decided that promoting while you were traveling, this ain't worth the time and effort.
Yeah.
Like, they promote it like on Impact. Like they'd say, okay, we're coming to this town this day. All right. And then nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And now they're still traveling, which why would you travel?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's proven successful or the non-traveling guys rather, going with like Lucha and stuff like that, and how you stay at your in-town studio,
right?
And if you can, like ECW, I mean that worked forever for ECW.
Yeah.
I mean those guys. Because they were Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, Philly.
And then I forget what
it
looked like, an old basketball court or
the
whatever.
bingo hall.
The bingo hall.
Yep.
But when ECW got big enough to move around, they only really went around that northeastern area. They never really went out west.
Yep.
So
and it worked for them. And it's like maybe this is where TNA just has to. It's like we do. We have 3 house shows a month plus 1 pay-per-view. This is a Saturday night show. Bring out the family.
You know what? Either someone needs to buy that company, rename it, strip everything, just take the talent, take the library, and make a whole new company with someone who knows what they're doing, or they need to just sell to WWE.
Right.
I think the latter is going to happen because wrestling is not as popular as it was.
No. Dixie Carter, I think the problem with her is that she believes too much in her product.
Yep.
Like, if WWE got in a little bit of financial trouble, they'd be okay because they have, The Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to draw people no matter what. They have Undertaker. They could get Stone Cold back. They have people that you can call upon that you could draw a crowd with no matter what. Get your money back. Your sponsorships, whatever.
Freaking Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker.
Correct.
Right.
What does TNA have to offer us right now? Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy in a garage.
Yeah.
Which
in a barn. Thank you.
Barn in a barn ring.
It's a barn match.
Just terrible.
And if you guys have not yet
see the Hardys film,
see the Hardys video. Oh my God,
it's worth it.
Yeah, we'll throw the link up there, and we apologize for any moments of your life that you will be.
Did you? I don't know if you saw this too, but so they had Slammiversary last weekend. Matt Hardy lost to Jeff Hardy. So Matt Hardy, and this is actually what turned me around because I thought this was the dumbest thing ever. And then he posted this Facebook video of him in the hotel, and it's literally 5 minutes. And then he turns around and he looks out the window, and he like just bangs his hands against the window. And then he comes back and he pulls his hair, and then he's just doing all this stuff. And I was like, "This is genius! This is
some next level stuff.
this is next level. This is
He's really getting to you.
so stupid. It's amazing."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll have to show it to you, but it's
Wow.
great.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
TNA.
TNA, sell yourself.
Sell.
Let us know what you guys think. Are you big TNA fans? Do you think this company still has some legs in there? I mean, they still got some talent, but
Right.
can they be saved, or is it time to flush?
Yeah.
I say flush.
Let it go.
Go for it.
Let us know what you think. Drop a comment.